This is Bam Electric Ghost, in this episode, Peg, Riot Grrrl Swag, and Baroque is a joke. So we've been getting deep into our analog synths and playing with our strange modulation. Plus, we're also focusing on Josephine Electric's Riot Grrrl intentions. And so this particular episode, we've got the song Zero Sum Game, which is somewhat like when a Miss Electric comes to town and some of our other Riot Grrrl efforts. Sometimes we just like to get into that kind of raw punk because we're big fans of bands like The Replacements, Dead Kennedys, FUXED, and also bands like Juliana Hatfield 3 and Blake Bravies. So we'd like to bring that kind of Riot Grrrl power. If you go back to the Runaways, like Lita Ford and Joan Jett, we like that kind of punk aesthetic, and then Josephine likes to channel that. What's different is we're using all synthesizers to do this. So we get a little heft because we combine our Moog sound with our Roland Supernatural guitars. And that gives us kind of a real guttural kick to the Naz when we jam into these. And so what's always interesting is Zero Sum Game has a lot of Moog strange modulation going on with our Mother 32 and our DFAM. We've learned how to do a couple of things where we actually route the signal into the Arturia Root 2S, use the two LFOs to create a lot of interesting, sonic tricks. Because when you use low frequency oscillators, you can get like in an analog synth, it creates patterns. Like it creates loops with just the LFO, not even using the sequencer. So we've been also using the Maths utility module to give like a third LFO. So what we actually probably, in reality, there's like 4 LFOs going on because there's an LFO in the Mother 32, there's 2 in the Arturia, and then there's 1 through the Maths module. And then potentially as a 5th LFO if we use the Moog DFAM. So that's where a lot of the modulation's happening. And then we actually get a rhythm track off of the JDXI running through an Arturia Mini Brute 2S. And then we live play the guitar while the bass and the analog modulation is all controlled by LFO, which gives it a very organic feel compared to a sequencer. Because your LFOs can kind of do rising and falling, and they can kind of rumble around like somebody's actually playing a loop, but it's not Fruity Loops. It's not some sampled loop. It's actually something we don't have to worry about paying somebody a royalty on because we created it ourselves. That's one of the advantages of using analog synths is we never have to pay for samples. And even when we use our sampler, which is the Make Noise Morphogene or the Teenage Engineering OPZ, we sample ourselves. And then we play with that sample and kind of turn it upside down or inside out. So it's a way you can, create music without having to use somebody else. As music as the bass. Not that you can't find interesting things. We think that Earl Sweatshirt does very interesting samples, kind of like MFF Doom on his new album, his last album, some rap songs, and his latest record is phenomenal. Now it's interesting. I'm going to digress a little bit. Like some people in the mainstream hip hop community have been critical of Earl's latest album, saying that it's a little off key or off note, but Earl is diving deep into what I would say is like Harlem Renaissance level poetry and very expressive sound painting oriented music, which is experimental. He's kind of doing like the male Kate Bush, male Bjork from a rap standpoint, maybe more like FKA Twigs in terms of his intentions. He's not trying to be the latest banger rapper using recycled beats and immediately recognizable hook flows. He's trying for something more intimate, more expressive, more personal. And I think either you're into that, because it's down tempo. I mean, what Earl does is very down tempo. It's very, grungy and indie in a way. It's like, I have a punk aesthetic. I like bands like FUXED. Like I said, I like the Dead Boys, like Dead Kennedys, Sonic Youth. And so when Earl, his approach, I can understand it. And maybe, kids who don't like that kind of music or like indie music that's not exactly sonically perfect or pitch perfect or rhythmic perfect, they don't know what to do with Earl because he's doing something a little bit beyond what they're used to. And, I don't know if he's ever going to go back to doing something like Doris or what he did in Odd Future because, he doesn't want to go that way. But I think it's interesting to see what the fans say and then see what the critics say. The critics have been very adoring of Feet of Clay. The Rolling Stone did a very great review. Billboard gave it a good review. But some of the folks on YouTube have not seem to not understand it, and that's fine. It's like do you understand Sun Ra? Maybe not. Maybe do you understand Lou Reed? White Heat? Maybe not. Do you understand Neil Young's Time Fades Away? Maybe not. So if you're not into like complex music or music that's not exactly super popular, wasn't designed to be popular, it's designed to make an impact. And that's kind of what we are inspired by folks that do that. That's why we do the music the way we do it. And we had people a couple of years ago telling us that we shouldn't use Josephine. But, Josephine Electric, it cuts through the mix the way my Moogs cut through the mix. Now, I've done songs, if you listen to the song Baroque as a joke, we're going to slide back into the topic. We're using the Phantom voice. But I would tell you, most of my Phantom songs, which I can count on two hands, don't do as well as the songs I do with Josephine. And when I was talking to a guy named Rock Tunes, when we used to be on this smartphone app called Spearman, he said that it's the same reason why when you listen to a band like Guns N' Roses or Led Zeppelin, why are the male singers singing in that high pitch? Because the high pitch kind of comes through. It's like a falsetto, like Smokey Robinson. It cuts through when you have a mix. And so if you have the higher frequency, like the female falsetto or female feminine oriented voice cuts through the rock mix where you have a lot of rock singers, like Geddy Lee, Robert Plant, Axl Rose. You tend to have a very high register to cut through the heaviness of the rock. Otherwise, you do kind of guttural death metal where you're just like a ghost, but that doesn't really sell as well. So we found early that Josephine's voice fits what we're doing sonically. And the Phantom voice works from time to time, and so we use it, but it doesn't really. It's interesting. Like if I do a concert and I'm, not sure how people are going to deal with Josephine, I'll do the Phantom voice. But the Josephine voice, it works, and even live, I that's the lead singer of the band. I'm going to do it. So it's just some folks don't like it. If they don't like it, it's their choice not to like it. But if you're a fan of the Ghost, you've been listening to us. We're almost at 22,000 listens on this show, and we appreciate it. So check us out, and we're going to keep on interviewing folks. We're going to bring back on Ezra in December. She's an awesome indie musician, and we're going to talk to her again. We're very excited about that. She got some really cool stuff going on. And we're also going to be talking to some other bands that we have coming up in November, and hope to talk for the year end some other folks that we talk to every year. We'll see if we can get Kendra Black back on or Jess Davis for an end of the year show. So we'll talk to you later. Thanks.
just a wretch. Till some game harsh way. Hard pain. Zero sum game. Used to be the best. Now you're just a western wretch. Zero-sum game. Feeling the will of the lame. Oh, you claim and play the game. Heart sway. The whole glory starts to fade. Used to be the best. Not laughing at the West. Barely passed the test. Just another wretch. The zero-sum game. It's about how you play. Used to make everybody pay. Now everybody sees the way. All you do is get laid. All you do is get laid. All you do is give it away. Zero-sum game. In all the pain. You used to be the best. And now you're just a wretch. Okay, boomer. You're a late bloomer. Say sign to that tumor. Say sign to that rumor.
Crushes.